and warm welcome to Power News, your window to the power sector. I'm Juhi Rajput. First of all, let me bring you the quick updates from power sector. To address power shortage in the Telangana region after the division of Andhra Pradesh, the centre has proposed setting up a 4,000 megawatt mega power project by NTPC. The company will take up development of the plant once it secures coal linkages. The coal requirement could be met by the state-owned Singareni collieries and other sources. After the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh into Telangana and Simandra, the Telangana region is likely to be short by about 2,000 megawatt. The Coal Ministry will seek Cabinet nod for transferring government land to Reliance Power. The nod is needed to transfer the land held by government-owned Northern Coalfields Limited in Madhya Pradesh to Reliance Power's Sasan Ultra Mega Power Project. The Mohar and Mohar Almori blocks given to the UMPP are surrounded by land given to NCL. A part of this land is to be transferred to Sasan Power as specified in the UMPP bid process. Reliance Infrastructure filed a ₹100 crore defamation suit in the Bombay High Court against Aam Aadmi Party, which had alleged the power company had overcharged consumer here in collusion with Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission. The plaintiffs alleged the AAP office bearers had made baseless and false allegations at a press conference here last month to mislead the people, thereby defaming the company. Coal Ministry has turned down the SR's demand of tapering linkage for the plant till its captive coal mine in Madhya Pradesh commences production. The fuel for the power plant was proposed to be used from the captive mine. Delays in getting environment and forest clearances for the mining project have prevented any work on the mine, thereby forcing the company to look at expensive e-auction coal to meet the requirements of the first 600 megawatt unit. The company had proposed tapering linkage from CIL till its mine gets operational. Use of e-auction coal could put further strain on the company's balance sheet, already been hit with cost overruns due to delays in the mining approval. Jayaprakash Power Ventures signed a ₹10,320 crore deal with a consortium led by Abu Dhabi National Energy Company, PJSE, to sell 2 hydroelectric plants. According to the deal agreement, the Abu Dhabi firm, also known as TAQA, will buy a 51% stake in the Karcham Wang 2 1,000 megawatt and Baspa 2 of 300 megawatt hydroelectric power plants in Himachal Pradesh. Canada's Public Sector Pension Investment Board will purchase a 39% stake and IDFC Alternatives Limited, the private equity arm of infrastructure finance company IDFC Limited, the remaining 10%. And now the news of the week. The sun is not shining as brightly as we thought, the wind is not blowing as fast as it was supposed to, and coal is more costly than we imagined. So raise our tariffs just as you did for Tata Power and Adani Power. That's the mantra for at least 20 companies that have approached regulatory bodies seeking higher rates for electricity they generate from wind, solar or coal-fired plants.
Tata Power and Adani Power secured favorable regulatory orders after they struggled with plants that suddenly became unviable as Indonesia changed its law and made coal exports costly. Many others are queuing up with consultants, lawyers and regulatory experts, sensing an opportunity to charge higher rates than what is prescribed in power purchase agreements. Experts feel that the two companies successfully argued that they had no control on the situation as a foreign country from where coal was being shipped to the two plants in Mundra decided to change the law. Many solar power firms say that they have a much stronger case as solar radiation in Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh is not as strong as claimed by the government when they set up their projects and agreed on a particular tariff. At least 7 solar power project developers with a total capacity of 470 megawatt have approached the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission seeking higher tariff.
Barely 6 weeks after the Maharashtra government cut consumer tariffs by ₹8,400 crore, of which ₹7,200 crore was to be paid by the government, the Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission nullified 2/3 of it by giving a ₹5,022 crore interim relief to Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company in view of the extraordinary financial difficulties being faced due to abnormal change in sales mix of subsidizing categories of consumers and to maintain its financial viability.
MSEDCL is currently in a very critical financial situation. MSEDCL's financial condition is so precarious that it does not have sufficient funds even to discharge its liabilities towards power procurement. It has already defaulted in making payment to MSPGCL and other generation companies, and current accumulated liabilities are considerably high. If tariff is not revised at an early stage, then it may default in loan repayment, which in turn will affect its credit rating.
The coal costs have gone up drastically over the last couple of years. Tariff have not kept pace with that. The power purchase cost has gone up by 300% over the last 10 years, while the tariffs have gone up only by about 70 to 80%. So leaving a gap of almost 230%. Some of it is covered by improvement of or reduction of the AT&C losses, but the problems will continue for all the discoms in the country unless the tariffs are revised, keeping in view the input cost of generation, both coal and gas.
MARC observed that the revenue gap was mainly due to shortfall in actual revenue billed, a concurrent effect of shortfall in energy sales. In financial year 13, sales fell in almost every category of consumers. The most significant impact was witnessed in the sales of industrial category, which grew by only 1% against the projection of 14% and 9% for HT and LT category respectively. On top of this, the drought situation in various regions of Maharashtra in financial year 2012-13 resulted in the sales witnessing a further downfall of 4%. Also, migration of subsidizing consumers through open access impacted sales growth materially.
The recent MARC order raises tariff across consumer categories between 11% and 12%. The state regulator said the amount will be recovered over a period of 12 months and will be in effect for bills issued from March 1st. Here we'll take a short break, but there is a lot more on the other side. Stay tuned.
Indian Energy Exchange, India's premier power trading platform.
From manufacturing of energy cables to EHV installations to renewable energy solutions to retail energy products, our technology energizes lives. Ravin, energizing lives.
मैं नहीं सोऊंगा, मेरे बेड के नीचे मॉन्स्टर है।
रोहन, मॉन्स्टर्स रियल नहीं होते।
होते हैं मॉम, वो रात को मुझे हु हु करके डराता है।
अच्छा, अगर डर लगे तो लाइट ऑन कर देना।
अंधेरे में स्विच कैसे ढूंढूं? अगर मॉन्स्टर ने मेरा हाथ खा लिया तो?
अभी सो जाओ, कल देखते हैं।
Switch on to Monster Gone. L&T switches, easy to locate in the dark. The only switch with a 12-year warranty.
Power Grid Corporation of India, the central transmission utility, world-class integrated global transmission company with dominant leadership in emerging power market, ensuring reliability, safety and economy. Power Grid, building a smarter grid.
Welcome back. The new electricity tariff order by the Central Power Regulator could weaken the margins of government-owned companies such as NTPC, NHPC and Power Grid, according to Standard & Poor's Rating Services. The Central Electricity Regulatory Commission released last month the final regulations that will determine tariffs for 2014-15 through to 2018-19.
The new electricity tariff norms are also applicable to generators such as NHPC, SJVN and PGCIL. As per Standard & Poor's Rating Services, S&P expects NTPC's earning before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization to decline 10 to 12% and net income to fall under the new tariff structure.
It has been prescribed now that the plant will be required to operate at the normative availability for one full month after operating for 72 hours at full load. In fact, the requirement of operating at full load for 72 hours is the adequate requirement for COD. In the initial stage, there could be some teething problem with the plant, and putting a condition of normative availability for one full month is too a difficult condition. Another important part is that auxiliary consumption and the heat rate need correction. In fact, with the change in the load cycles and many industrial around the clock consumers switching over to the captive power plants, there is a variation in the demand. Backing down is a real and technical necessity, and under those circumstances, it is very difficult to meet the target of heat rate and the auxiliary consumption. Therefore, I can say that while fixing the parameters, there is a need to have a closer look at the nature of load, requirement of the backing down, and change in the technical parameters on account of such backing down.
It is anticipated that the revised regulatory tariff structure is likely to weaken the operating performances of NTPC, NHPC and Power Grid. It is unlikely to affect the ratings of these companies.
The earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization and net income will be weaker, largely because the company won't be able to enhance its return on equity as much. Given that it will now have to use the 24 to 26% effective tax rate from the 33% rate it has been using so far. Second, incentives will now be based on plant load factor from the earlier plant availability factor. And now some news coming up from coal sector. The Coal Ministry will scale down its production target of 795 million tons in 2016-17 as it expects problems in environment clearances and rail connectivity. Coal Ministry has said that it would not be able to achieve 8% growth in coal production for the 12th plan and need to revise estimates during mid-term review.
The target for coal production for 11th plan was initially set at 680 million ton for 2011-12, but cut to 630 million ton in the midterm appraisal. The Coal Ministry now scaled down its production target of 795 million tons in 2016-17.
Now, if you reduce the target of the 12th plan, that means the 12th plan projection that in the last year of the 12th plan we will be importing 175 million tons of coal would now go to maybe 200 million tons of coal. And I think this is a huge disaster for the economy, and I think we should take all kinds of measures needed to make sure that our domestic coal production increases rapidly.
Coal Ministry claims that while setting the targets, they were not aware that Comprehensive Environment Pollution Index will make them lose 42 million ton of coal production from 7 important mines. Coal India also spent considerable time to comply with laws related to tribal rights. Besides these, 3 railways projects to evacuate coal did not take off in time.
I think the most important thing the government can do is really open the coal sector to private sector players, auction the coal blocks just the same way as we are auctioning under new exploration licensing policy petroleum blocks, and let the new technologies and new players come into the picture. I think we can certainly have coal production, 4 years or 5 years a coal mine can be opened, and there is no real reason why on the 13th plan target cannot be met. I think this is a total abdication of government's responsibility to produce the necessary amount of coal, particularly when it insists on keeping the coal sector in its own control as a nationalized sector.
The government's decision to deallocate several coal blocks in past couple of years to private firms would also have an impact. Deallocation may hurt growth in production, but on the other hand, blocks that were not developed at all can start production if they are transparently auctioned after cancellation. Coal Ministry will discuss its concern with Planning Commission during the midterm appraisal after the new government comes into power.
I think it is absolutely essential that the coal blocks which have been taken away from some of the players who are competent and capable of doing it, we should really understand what are the obstacles within which have prevented them from mining the coals, and quickly remove them and give back the coal blocks to those who are capable of doing this. And I think if you auction these coals with conditions that you must explore these blocks within a certain given time frame, then we can certainly, we should be able to produce the coal that we need.
The country is facing a coal shortage and rising prices of imported coal. Several power producers are seeking higher tariff to cover their losses as coal costs rose unexpectedly in September 2011 due to a change in law in Indonesia, India's largest source for coal imports.
India could produce only 540 million tonne of coal in the terminal year of the previous plan. Planning Commission estimated Indian coal demand at 770 million tonne for 2013-14 as against prospects of producing 606 million tonne. India is expected to import 163 million tonnes during the current fiscal. In 2012-13, Indian coal production increased 3.3% over the previous fiscal to 557 million tonnes as against the target of 574 million tonnes. It's time for another short break. Keep watching Power News.
Indian Energy Exchange, India's premier power trading platform.
Jal, jal, jal. Jal, jal, jal.
जल से जल तक, मेगावाट से मेगावाट्स तक. SJVN Limited.
Power Finance Corporation, the most preferred financial institution, providing affordable and competitive products and services with efficient and internationally integrated sourcing. PFC, partnering the reforms in the Indian power sector.
Welcome back. To cater the need for a marketplace where buyers and sellers could meet and trade power with genuine price discovery, power exchanges in India were conceptualized in 2005. The stepping stone for establishing such an exchange was laid in the Electricity Act 2003, which introduced the concept of non-discriminatory open access through provisions for promoting competition in the market.
Recognizing the fact that price signal from an organized market will promote competition and investments, CERC initiated the process of organizing the electricity market by issuing guidelines for setting up and operating power exchanges. In 2008, India's first energy exchange, IEX, commissioned its operations.
The short-term electricity market has grown from 66 billion units in 2009-2010 to almost 100 billion units in 2012-2013. And the volume traded in our exchange, the Indian Energy Exchange, has grown from a mere 6 billion units in 2009-2010 to well over 28 billion units in 2012-2013.
The IEX is the leading energy trading platform with a 90% market share. Over the past 5 years, the number of participants on the exchange has increased to 2,600, comprising of 27 states, 5 union territories and 500 generators.
IEX has maintained its market leadership all through the last 5 years and that it has been operating, and the market share in the last fiscal was 95%, and this year to date it has been close to 97%. We attribute this tremendous growth to the three hallmarks of our operation. One is transparency, the second is liquidity, and third is robust price discovery.
The IEX provides a platform for trading power in the day-ahead market and the term-ahead market. In the renewable energy segment, the trading platform is that for renewable energy certificates. A platform for trading energy saving certificates under the Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme will be launched in the near future. The Indian Energy Exchange not only provides a reliable platform for such trading, but also contributes to time and cost efficiencies through an implicit auction mechanism by way of market splitting.
IEX registered its first open access consumer way back in August 2009. Today, we have over 2,100 open access consumers who are registered with us. We are number one in the world in terms of participation. We facilitate 27 states, 5 union territories, 3,000 plus clients, 2,100 plus open access consumers and more than 220 generators in the electricity market. And a cumulative trade of over 84 billion units has been carried out on our platform since inception.
IEX provides an option for buying power in the short-term markets. The DISCOMs also have the opportunity to create an optimal mix of long-term and short-term contracts to hedge the risk of consumer migration. They can optimize power purchase cost by replacing costlier power procurement under long-term contracts with cheaper power available on the exchanges. Today, the state utilities contribute 50 to 55% of the volumes transacted on the IEX on a daily basis.
The exchanges, the power exchanges in India, offer a most transparent mechanism for price discovery and thus are most competitive among various market options. With more capacity addition in the coming years and the integration of the southern new grid with the rest of the country and implementation of open access in the real spirit and in its entirety, I think the trading market and exchanges should see a tremendous growth in the coming years.
At IEX, currently 40 to 45% of the overall day-ahead market trade is contributed by direct customers availing of open access. Power availability at competitive prices has led to the revival and resurgence of several SIC industrial units, particularly those in Punjab and Tamil Nadu, which were either shut down or running for 2 to 3 days a week. These units are now running round the clock by procuring power through the IEX.
The Electricity Act of 2003 mandates open access to become a reality. On the ground, its implementation has been partial and, I must say, even ineffective so far. This needs to be addressed as a systemic issue on a priority basis by the policy and the regulatory authorities, both at the central and the state levels.
The exchanges have played an important role in furthering the objectives of the Electricity Act by facilitating competition and open access, as well as in realizing the impact of delicensing generation. The creation of a physical national grid has been supported by commercial contracts set upon the IEX, wherein huge volumes of electricity have been transferred across India to improve the reliability and security of supply in both surplus and deficit regions. With this, we come to an end of this episode of Power News. Keep sending us your suggestions and views at info@indianpowernews.com or call us on 011-405-60706. I'll be back next week with more news and updates. Till then, goodbye and take care.